Okay, so when you hear the name eClerx, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For most people, it's IT services. And honestly, that's the wrong label. It leads you to value the company all wrong. We're going to break down why eClerx isn't about cutting costs. It's actually about being a quiet but absolutely critical piece of plumbing for the entire global financial system.
All right, so to really get to the core of this company, we first have to take a hammer to the most common idea about what eClerx even sells, because I promise you, it's probably not what you're thinking.
So, on one side, you've got the market's lazy take, right? Oh, they just sell cheap labor to cut costs. But the reality, well, it's a completely different universe. You see, they aren't selling cheaper employees. They're selling the prevention of catastrophic, multi-million-dollar mistakes. And that, right there, is a fundamentally different game.
Okay, so if it's not your run-of-the-mill outsourcer, then what the heck is it? Well, eClerx lives in this special category called Knowledge Process Outsourcing, or KPO. Now, the key word you have to latch onto here is ownership. They aren't just handed a to-do list. No. They take full responsibility for entire, super complex processes that are absolutely vital to their clients' ability to make money.
This really lays it all out perfectly. Just look at the columns. Your typical BPO or IT services company, they're selling you time. You pay them by the hour or by the employee. Their whole pitch is, we can reduce your labor costs. Now, slide over to the KPO column. This is eClerx's world. They sell outcomes. The price isn't based on how many people are on the job. It's based on the value they deliver. The goal for the client isn't just to save a few bucks on staff. It's to de-risk a critical operation that could otherwise just completely blow up in their face. In short, they're selling accountability.
So, why is this accountability worth so much money? Well, you have to picture the environment eClerx operates in. We are talking about the nerve centers of the world's biggest banks. Places where a single misplaced decimal point can trigger millions of dollars in losses in the blink of an eye.
So for these massive banks, what's priority number one? This quote just nails it. When you're dealing with billions of dollars, you are not trying to shave a few percentage points off your payroll. Your one and only job is to make absolutely positively sure that nothing ever breaks. And believe me, when things do go wrong, the consequences are brutal. A trade break? That's not some little IT ticket. That's an instant real money loss on the trading floor. A regulatory error isn't a slap on the wrist, it's a headline-grabbing, multi-million-dollar fine from the government. This is the constant high-stakes pressure their clients are living under every single day.
And this is such a crucial point to understand. eClerx isn't just some vendor you can swap out if you find a cheaper price. They become part of the operational DNA of these banks. The client's daily workflows literally cannot run without them. That is the real competitive moat. It's not some piece of paper. It's a deep structural dependency that makes switching vendors an incredibly risky and painful idea.
All right, so how does this all translate into a business model? Well, this whole ownership model creates a totally different and, frankly, a much more powerful economic engine than what you'd find in your average outsourcing company.
So think about the sales pitch. A typical outsourcer comes in and talks about the cost of an employee per hour. eClerx comes in and talks about the multi-million-dollar cost of a single trade going wrong. See the difference? They're not selling you people, they're selling you peace of mind. The guarantee that your most critical operations will keep running smoothly, day in and day out.
Okay, the elephant in the room. What about AI? Isn't it just going to automate all of this away? Well, here's the twist. AI is amazing at simple, repetitive tasks, but you can't sue an algorithm when a regulatory filing is wrong, can you? There's a huge accountability gap. So for eClerx, AI isn't a threat, it's a tool, it's a force multiplier. It handles all the easy stuff, which frees up their human experts to focus on the messy, complex, high-risk exceptions. You know, the places where the real value and the real liability is.
Okay, that's a fantastic story. But a great story is completely useless if the numbers don't back it up, right? So let's pop the hood and see if this financial engine is as clean as the narrative suggests. So here's the #1 question for any services business. Are the high margins and big profits we see on paper, are they real? Or is it all just some clever accounting fiction? How can we actually be sure? Simple. We look at the cash. Because over the long haul, you can play all sorts of games with accounting profits. But cash in the bank? That is much, much harder to fake. It is the ultimate lie detector.
And here is the proof, right here. What you're looking at is a comparison between reported earnings, that's EBITDA, and the actual cash the company generates from its operations, that's CFO. And what do you see? They track each other almost perfectly over time. This is the smoking gun. It tells us their high profit margins are the real deal, not just an accounting fantasy.
And all that strong cash flow leads to a consistently high return on capital employed, or ROCE. Now, in simple terms, that just means they get a huge bang for every buck they invest in the business. And it makes sense, right? They're selling expertise, not widgets. They don't need to spend a ton on giant factories or expensive equipment. It makes the whole business model incredibly efficient and profitable.
So who's steering this ship? Well, this financial discipline comes from the top. It's a founder-led management team, and they act like careful custodians of the business, not like ego-driven empire builders. They stay away from those big, splashy, risky acquisitions. Instead, they focus on steady, organic growth and consistently return cash to shareholders. You know, this is the mark of a team that's playing the long game.
Okay, so we've got a high-quality business, a powerful moat, and disciplined management. What does all that mean if you're looking at this as an investment today? Let's pull it all together. Valuation, risks, the whole shebang.
First things first, let's be really clear. This is not some hidden gem trading for pennies on the dollar. The market is not stupid. It recognizes the quality here. So you're not getting a bargain. What you're paying for is a fair price for a very durable, high-quality business. The whole idea here isn't about the stock doubling overnight. It's about the slow, steady, quiet compounding of value over many, many years.
But look, every investment has risks, and you have to know what could break the whole story. These are what we'd call the kill switches for eClerx. And notice something. They all go right to the heart of what makes the business so special. If their work suddenly becomes a commodity that's priced per employee, or if they have a major quality failure that just trashes their reputation, or if management suddenly gets reckless with a huge acquisition, any of these could be a deal breaker. The good news is these are all things an investor can actually keep an eye on.
And that really brings us full circle to the final conclusion. You don't own a company like eClerx for the heart-pounding excitement or flashy headlines. You own it because it's a piece of quiet, essential financial infrastructure. It's a business built for patient compounding, not for a short-term thrill. And in the world of investing, that kind of quiet reliability can be one of the most powerful forces you can find.